Hi there, this is Joe from Signagelive, and in this video I'm going to talk to you all about using Power BI with Signagelive. Signagelive has a native integration with Power BI, which allows you to securely display reports and dashboards pulled directly from your Microsoft account. You can then showcase these inside a playlist alongside your other content and publish this directly to your players. Before I go into the specifics of how we set this up, and I will show you that in a moment, I wanted to just take a moment to talk to you about how the data is displayed and the benefits of Signagelive's approach to displaying secure dashboards. So firstly, the login credentials that you provide, the ones that will be used to retrieve your dashboard and report data from Power BI, are stored in our cloud and not transmitted directly to your Signagelive players, meaning that they are secure and easy to rotate between if you want to display reports from varying Microsoft accounts. Further to this, data is never actually transmitted to the players as we send screenshots of the chosen content. This also provides many other benefits. Of course, those security benefits I already mentioned, but also our solution functions for the lifetime of your hardware. We're regularly updating the browsers running in our cloud, meaning that as long as no major changes are made to the external data solution, our solution can continue running. Another benefit of the way that we transmit this data to your screens via screenshot is that if your player loses internet connection for whatever reason, the device will continue displaying the last known data based on whatever screenshot it last downloaded. It's worth noting though that this is only on players that support caching. One final benefit is that any existing Signagelive supported hardware can be reused to display dashboard data, including hardware that's end of life by the manufacturer, providing that it is a supported Signagelive player. Okay, so hopefully that paints a picture of how our approach to displaying dashboards actually works. But how do we get this up and running ourselves? Firstly, you'll need the data integrations module enabled on your Signagelive network. Once you have this, we're ready to begin. So the Power BI app itself is actually free to download from our Signagelive marketplace. And once you have that, you can begin selecting sync jobs that you want to display. So the very first step is actually to set up a sync job. And what we're going to do is start by switching to the data integrations application found in the top left corner of your Signagelive network. And now we're here in the data integrations application. This is where you'll find our native Power BI integration. This is also where you'll find any other integrations that we currently have, such as SharePoint or any future ones that we're going to bring up in the future. So if you're at the stage that I am at, as you can see right here, I already have Power BI in my data integrations application. Of course, in your case, if you're adding this for the first time, you won't see this up here. So all you'll need to do is go into this search bar here and search Power BI. Again, in my case, I've already got it, so it's not going to appear for me. But then what you would need to do is just select it and then add it to your data integrations application. Once you've added it, you will see it up the top here like I do now. So if I click on that, I can then go in and manage that application. And this is where I can manage any existing sync jobs, or I can add new ones. And as you can see here, I already have some sync jobs going here, but in our case, we're going to add a brand new sync job. But let's pretend we're doing this from scratch. The first thing you need to do is add your Microsoft account to the data integrations application. So we're going to do that by heading over to the accounts tab here. And then you're going to click on the plus icon up here. You'll then be prompted to log in with your Microsoft account. In my case, I'm going to do that. So now I've added my account, and you can see this one at the top here that says not in use is the Microsoft account that I am using today. And you can see that this is not in use, and that's because I haven't got any sync jobs set up with this particular account right now. Obviously, those sync jobs that I showed you earlier, that correlated with these two that we see here. So now we can begin using these credentials to add a sync job into our Power BI instance. So at this stage, I'm going to go back to Power BI over here. So here we are back on the sync jobs page. And from here, we have to add a new sync job. So we're going to do that by clicking the blue plus over here. And immediately we are presented with the opportunity to create a new sync job. In this case, I'm going to call this Joe Test. And then we can go on to the synchronization schedule. The synchronization schedule is how often you want data to be pulled down from Microsoft servers. In this case, 5 minutes is the quickest you can do here, and that is what's set by default. You can obviously have this up to 60 minutes if you want, and you can actually go down as low as 1 minute if you wanted to. That is an optional extra, so if you are interested in that, please get in touch with us and we can put you through to our commercial team to talk about integrating minutely syncs onto your network. In this case, I'm going to leave this at 5 for the time being, and I'm going to carry on scrolling down. Now, the capture. So now we're in the capture section, and at this stage, we need to pick what account we're going to be pulling the captures from and what workspace we're going to be pulling the captures from. In my case, I've got multiple accounts here. I'm going to pick the one that we just added, which is this one here. Under the workspace, I'm just going to select this one here because this is a workspace that I already have created in Power BI. And now I can pick whether this is a report or a dashboard. In my case, this is a report, so I'm going to pick report test here. As you can see, this has already started to populate our capture down here, but we do have some more customization options here as well, such as the size, so we can change that to whatever resolution we want. In our case, I'm going to leave it as 1920 by 1080 as I have it here. So scrolling down, as you can see, we have our screenshot here. And the good thing is here that you can actually apply filters however you would in Power BI. So you can select on elements on the screen, or you can actually go to the filters pane here and apply any filters you want to, and those will be integrated into your screenshot. Once you're happy with this, and I'm just going to say that I'm going to scroll up to the top here and hit save. And then we have Joe Test. Now the sync is off at the moment, so that means it is not trying to pull down any data at the moment, but I'm going to turn the sync on, and it will begin doing that. Now at this stage, this is now going to perform a sync when it gets the earliest opportunity to do so. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is jump back over to the Signagelive application and talk to you about the app side of this. So let's go back to Signagelive here. Our Joe Test is going to be doing that in the background. We don't need to be in the data integrations application anymore for that to happen. So we're going to leave that as it is. We're going to go to the marketplace and we're going to grab a Power BI app. So I'm going to go to content, playlists, create and edit. And this is how we get to the marketplace. As you can see over here, I have marketplace. Once I'm in the marketplace, I can scroll down and actually it's at the top here, I can see. So I'm going to click on that one, add to Signagelive. Okay, so we've added that to our Signagelive network. I'm now going to filter by recently added, and you'll see our Power BI widget is now waiting to download. It's just generating that thumbnail now. As soon as that generates, and it already has, I can then drag this into a playlist like so. And you can edit it like you can any other content. So if I double click on this, immediately I'm met with the preview, and I'll talk to you about the preview in a minute. But before I do, you can set your duration here, you can set your conditional tagging, you can set validity and recurrence, just as you would any other asset in Signagelive. Now, going back to this preview tab, this is where we select which screenshot we want to pull into this particular app. Now, in this case, you can see immediately it has found Joe Test, which is great, which means it's talking to the data integrations application. It has identified that we've created a sync job called Joe Test, and we need to pick which sync job we want to put into this widget. That's going to pull down any screenshots from that sync job. If I select the drop down here, you can see every other sync job that I have on this particular Signagelive network. Of course, Joe Test is the one we want, so we're going to stick with that one. It's worth noting that if you happen to go and get the Power BI widget from the marketplace before doing the steps that we just did in the data integrations application, if you then come to try and do this, you might find that you won't get an option here. And that'll be because you haven't got any sync jobs in the data integrations application. If that is the case, don't worry, just go back to the beginning of this video, follow the steps of adding the sync job into the data integrations application, and then it will appear here as you see here. At this stage, it's also worth noting that in this particular preview area here within the actual Power BI app, you will not see a preview of your report or your dashboard on the left there. If you wanted to get an actual preview of what you're going to see before it hits the screen, you would have to do that in the data integrations application at the point of when the sync jobs are returning. So let's go and check if we've got some screenshots returning now. So we're happy with this. We've set our duration. I've set that to a minute. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to save my playlist. And of course, if I wanted to add more content alongside this playlist, I could do that and then publish that directly to my screens. In our case, we're going to jump back to the data integrations application quickly. We're going to click on Power BI here and hit Manage. And as you can see, we're back in the area where our sync jobs are here. And now we can see that Joe Test is actually syncing and returning a screenshot. So that's a good sign. That means that that Power BI app, when we select Joe Test from the drop-down, we can be pretty sure that it's going to pull whatever screenshot it has last populated within this sync job. So with that, we're happy to publish this now. We're all good to go. I'm now going to jump to the Signagelive application again, and we're going to publish this to this player behind me. And we would do this how we would publish any other piece of content. So we're going to go to Content, Publish, between the chosen time and dates in my case, because I'm not too fussed. I just want it to be on screen now. Playlist, we're going to select Joe, Dashboard, like that. What player do we want to publish to? In my case, it is this one here behind me. And I'm going to hit Publish. And in a few moments, when this downloads, I should see my report displayed on my screen. And after a few moments, as you can see, our report from Power BI is now displaying on our player. It's taken the screenshot from the data integrations application. It has fed that into the Power BI app, and that is what we are displaying here on screen. Now, of course, I've put this in a full screen playlist, but if you did want to put this as a part of a layout alongside other content, you could use a schedulable zone or a static widget zone, and you could do that. But overall, there we have it. Using our native integration with Power BI in our data integrations application, we've been able to pull data down from Power BI and display this directly onto our Signage Live players. I hope the steps in this video help, and if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to get in touch and we'd be more than happy to help. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.